Welcome to this week's broadcast of the virtual SpaceTV, brought to you by Hobby Space and Binary Space. I am Amanda Bush, your host. Please note that this show was generated automatically by software, without human interaction. Last week, NASA announced news of waterfalls on Mars. In spring and summer on the Red Planet, images from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter show dark tracks down the sides of some crater cliffs. These are most likely signs of water ice in the ground, melting and leaving stains as it flows down the cliff sides. The water is presumably heavily salted, which would keep it in a liquid state despite the very low temperatures and low air pressure. If confirmed, the presence of liquid water would offer yet another boost for the possibility of bacterial life on Mars. Now, let's have a short look on a video provided by the Jet Propulsion Laboratory visualizing the mentioned observation.
Here is the rotating globe of Mars, and we're going to zoom in on the middle southern latitudes, the part of Mars where we find these active slope features, and we're zooming in on the Newton Basin crater here. What you can see are lots of gullies. The active features that we've recently discovered are on the slopes that are facing mostly to the north, to the equator. What we see are much smaller scale features than gullies. You can see an area of bedrock, a steep cliff here, and it's from that bedrock that these dark features flow out. Given the latitude and the slope aspect, in particular the temperatures, it suggests that there is a volatile involved here, and the appropriate volatile for this temperature is water. Probably salty water, because sometimes these are active when it's a little bit below the freezing point of pure water. Salt lowers the melting point. And water on Mars should be salty. We know there's lots of salts on Mars. This is potentially actual water in a liquid state flowing on Mars today, not millions of years ago. And in late spring and into the summer is when these features form and fade. By late summer, early fall, they'll be completely gone, and we'll see just a normal looking slope throughout the winter. Every place where we have multiple years, these features recur. They're not exactly the same. They may be more or less active one year than another, but they keep coming back.
On Friday, NASA's Juno spacecraft was launched from Kennedy Space Center on an Atlas V rocket. It will take 5 years for Juno to reach Jupiter, where the spacecraft will go into a polar orbit around the giant planet. The spacecraft carries 8 scientific instruments that will provide information on the planet's origins, structure, atmosphere, and magnetosphere. It will also help determine if it has a solid core. Juno is unusual for a deep space planetary probe, in that it does not use a radioactive power source. It instead has a set of very large solar panels to gather enough sunlight to provide just enough power for its instruments. On Thursday, Boeing announced that it had selected the Atlas V rocket as the vehicle to carry its crew capsule to the International Space Station. With the Juno launch, the Atlas V has had 27 successful launches of scientific and military payloads, and no failures. The rocket will only need minimal changes to carry Boeing's SpaceTV capsule, which will hold up to 7 people. NASA's Commercial Crew Program has contracted with Boeing and 3 other companies to provide launch systems for taking astronauts to the space station. In addition to Boeing, the firms Blue Origin and Sierra Nevada intend to use the Atlas V for their crew modules. SpaceX plans to use its own Falcon 9 rocket to carry its Dragon capsule to orbit. Boeing is also working with Bigelow Aerospace, which is developing expandable space habitats. That's it for this week. I hope you will join us again next time.